Hello everybody, welcome to the playthrough for Pro Division in the Vintage Open Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go! So, Pro Division, and you can see, first and foremost, I'm playing with an extra mile, but to try to replicate the situation of an extra mile level 5, 6, 7, I'm going to use a power 1 ball instead of a power 3. I would like to play with a power 3 ball if I would be having an extra mile level 7, 6 or 5 here playing in rookie. Half a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right using a smidge of overpower. Same type of situation I would be using with a power 3 ball. Reason being, using an account with extra mile level 8 is because I run out of accounts, so I want to try to replicate a situation that is more pro-like. But if you do have any questions about another type of situation, let me know please. I'm using as much topspin that I possibly can down the middle. So all from, if I do have 4.5 to 6 bars, I'm using as much as I can. Try to get as much distance as possible down there to the, what can we call it, the hole in the fairway. Also, the drive is 20% downhill. We need to add that to our adjustment. So the thing that I would like to say though is, like, if you do not want to look at hole number 1, you maybe want to look to hole number 6 directly, you can press the timestamp for the specific holes in the video description down below. Also, if you do search for the updated text guides or a training session with me, you can check out patreon.com/golfclashtommy. The thing that we do want to stay away from here for hole number 1 is to get into the rough or into the sand in any form. So that is why I'm trying to play as much of a conservative drive possible and then lay up here. Now I'm going to go for the dunk, and I would be going for the dunk even with Thorn level 1 if so. So the reason I'm going for the dunk is that I do eliminate the fact that I do need to have a bounce to go for the pin. Second shot being down there, as you can see that we do play uphill. So that means that I'm going to play this one 10% uphill. Aim for the back of the cup using, from this distance here, you can rewind to see the yardage number in between minimum and medium distance with a 10% under adjustment, and then we have a boom. So, and that is definitely going to be a good shot for you if you find yourself in thorn range. If you do get up to wedge range, then you're of course going to play the wedge as you normally do. Hole number 2. Here I'm playing with a sniper level 10. It could also be a sniper level 9, level 8, level 7. The important part here for me though is to get 5 bars of backspin, or 4.5 if I'm going to push it here a little bit. Using the yellow ring just by the rough there on the right, playing this shot 1-1, which means that I'm going to take the wind, and if the wind says in this case 6.9, I'm going to adjust 6.9 rings. It also means medium distance with a 10% over adjustment. You can see we're coming in a little bit too short, so I would like us to play the same type of play but remove a little bit of backspin. Using 5 or 4.5 bar backspin, then we're gonna be fine. If you have a lower level sniper, you might want to consider playing with the Guardian instead to give yourself a little bit more backspin, or you need to back up your target a little bit further back so you do give yourself a room for playing with less backspin. I'm playing with a navigator here. The reason being is that I do not want to find myself in between clubs, which is a possible factor if I do play with a power 3 ball. So navigator is perfect, wind resistance 2 and the power 1. Now, very weird recording here for hole number 3 because I accidentally forgot to record the drive. So I'm actually gonna take the replay function with the drive after I take my second shot. But you can see there in the start that I actually ended up very nicely on the fairway, because the thing that I'm looking for in my drive is to get over to the fairway without getting that far on the fairway. So once again, I'm playing with an extra mile level 8, but to replicate the distance, here I'm playing with a power 1 ball instead of playing with a power 2 or a power 3 ball, which I otherwise would have done with using an extra mile level 7, 6 or 5. Now the second shot here, so we're actually taking the second shot first, and I do apologize for that, but the drive comes after the second shot here. I'm going to use topspin here. I'm going to use topspin so I can see the ball guideline go through the hole. That's super important as we do bounce where it's uphill, and also we need the ball to roll uphill as well, which is going to reduce the ball guideline as we see it, and therefore we do need to get the ball guideline to show through the hole. Sure, if you do have a very low level long iron like the Goliath or backbone or something like that, then you will have to, in that case, go with a little bit less. Now we are actually very unlucky that we don't get that one in the hole. It gets down and it pops right back up, but that is absolutely a possibility for us to make an albatross. The adjustment for the second shot, I'm not using any over adjustment or under adjustment whatsoever, just playing it as it is, using no side spin, no curl, only top spin there, which was 1.5. Now let's go back to the drive by using the replay here. And here you will be able to see that I'm using as much side spin to the right possible, which is 4.5 bars. I'm also using 2 bars of top spin, not more than that, using a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and then approximately half a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right. And then last but not least, using around 25% of overpower on our ball. And you can see here now we get over, nice, easy, and we get to stop. And why do I want to go short on the drive then? Is because if we do use more topspin, we're gonna have a bigger risk to get the ball to just roll like oh my god, like a race car, like and roll very far, and then we could be in between clubs. Hole number what will this be? 4. Here I'm going to play with a Kingmaker. The reason I'm playing with a Kingmaker is I do want power 3 and as much wind resistance possible, and I do believe a Kingmaker here would be good. There is basically 2 ways to play here, and I prefer playing with a long iron, in this case the Goliath, aiming with 3.5 bar backspin, which this is it's not 3.5, but this is 4. But I would like you to play with 3.5 bar backspin to be able to give your ball a chance to get up towards the pin. I hit great left, which is unfortunate, which means I'm going to lose distance, but also go a little bit to the left. The shot here, I'm playing it 20% over adjusted with max numbers, and that may. You maybe want to go back and see, Tommy said 10% the last time we played, so that's correct. But with this type of wind and also with the remaking, I feel that this one is played more as a 20% downhill than it was before. So 20% downhill, super important to have that in mind. So if you do want to play another way, then you will have to do as our opponent is doing, playing directly onto the green, but with a low power ball combined with a highly upgraded sniper like a level 10 sniper to give you enough backspin to get the ball to stop, or you will have to play with a Guardian to use the backspin so you get the ball to stop. But I prefer playing with a long iron there in that case, and I'm playing it once again with the Goliath. Goliath gives us distance, Backbone does not, Saturn does not, and that will cause us go in between clubs. If you want to play with a long iron, that will have to be with a Goliath. Hole number 5. Here we're going to over adjust our drive 10%. And this drive is very tricky. I'm going to play with a Titan, giving myself 4.5 bar top spin and as much side spin to the left possible. And the thing that I do want to try to achieve here is to get myself as close to the top left as possible. And I feel there that the tree there on the left is more in play now when we are playing from the second tee, as the second bounce is going to get higher, and therefore the tree are more in play there on the left. So I'm reducing, playing with 3 bars of topspin, using half a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the left with a tiny bit of overpower, trying to kind of curl it into the left, using the spin to control the ball and get as close to the left and as close to the top as possible. This one will do. It's a good shot, happy with that, but of course you can see we have more margin, so we can use 1 bar more topspin if we want to. But I think it's just important that we can push it, but we need to have the understanding with that if we do get into the rough, we will not be able to reach for the green in 2. That's going to be impossible. Very rarely I say impossible. That is going to be absolutely impossible. Like the same as our opponent here, gets into the sand. You can only lay up and then hope that you have your skills with you when approaching for the third shot. Now for the second shot, we do need distance, and therefore we're gonna play with the big dog, or we're gonna play with a cataclysm, or yeah, I think those, or like a highly upgraded guardian, but I will skip that guardian suggestion in pro. So the big dog is going to be the play here. We do have some tailwind, which is helpful. We're gonna play this one with around 1.5 bar backspin, stretching out our adjustment to try to visualize how the ball is going to bounce on the other side of the rough towards the pin. The big dog is super hard to estimate the ball guideline, as the ball guideline is crap, and also combined with the very little accuracy we have on the big dog, we kind of need to hit this ball perfect, or at least great. If we hit a good shot, we could be all over the place. I do stretch out, adjust my rings, no over adjustment, no under adjustment, and this shot coming straight at the pin, but we're using too much backspin. So 1 bar of backspin for the next time. Now hole number 6 here, I'm playing with the quarterback, and the quarterback will be very helpful as I can play max distance with a power 1 ball with max topspin, which is 5 bars, and also max side spin to the right, which is 4.5 bars. Slight counter curl to the left to just compensate for if we hit the ball great as we did this time, and just gonna put our ball there to the top. I play the quarterback 1-on-1, which means you take the wind and then you adjust as many rings that the wind says. So if you say like this, for an example, our opponent has 7.4 in wind. If we would be playing with that wind, we're going to adjust it 7.4 rings. And that is an easy adjustment used to the quarterback, also used sometimes with the sniper, to just make it as easy as possible for us all when it comes to adjusting for a drive or for an approach shot. So we don't need to use a bunch of notes or a note sheet, so we can just remember, okay, the wind says this, we adjust this and go from there. Our opponent's going to try something else here, going on the left side, and I don't enjoy playing on the left side. I do enjoy playing on the right side, as I feel the second shot gets more likely to drop from that area. But sure, it's a very tough one, so I'm not gonna be negative towards an approach like that, but I choose right side all the time. Second shot here, now I'm actually gonna play on the left side of the fairway here. I'm thinking actually that I'm finding a very good spot here, which is going to give me a consistent bounce, but almost like a funnel-ish, I can't really say that, but I get a very good spot here when it comes to adjusting for the pin. I'm aiming straight at the pin using 3 bars of backspin, half of the red ring inside the rough there on the left, and then we're going to adjust medium distance with an under adjustment of 10%, because we're going to play it uphill. Bounce there, bounce on the fringe, and we roll very, very close, but with a very good speed towards the pin. And another day, and that one would be going in. Hole number 7. And hole number 7, we're gonna play with a quarterback. And hole number 7, we're gonna play the quarterback with a drive with 10% over adjustment, and with the focus on getting to the as close to the top as possible. And once getting as close to the top as possible, we're going to have a power 3 ball with us, and that's why we do have the Titan. We do want to use the wind, we do want to use the club that we're having, with as much topspin and as much distance as possible. So here we do have the big dog. We have straight tailwind, which is a very helpful wind. I'm going to use as much topspin as possible here to get the ball to bounce over the rough. And here you can see I can stretch it out, adjust my rings, and don't really need to use any overpower to get to where I want to. But I do want to make sure that I'm gonna get over, so I'm using a little bit of overpower just in case. And even if we hit it great, we're not gonna have any problems. Here it is important that you do try to find a spot where you can use as a reference by going with a third shot then towards the pin. For the second shot, we're not going to over adjust or under adjust anything. So we are just going to play as it is. It's only the driver going to play 10% downhill. Our opponent here using a basic ball. I would say I'm impressed by reaching this far with a basic ball and still having an open shot without having any of the trees in his face in that. So this is a very good play, but of course using a ball with a little bit of power is going to make the opportunity a little bit easier for you, as that you can use the power and the distance of your ball with your second shot especially. Gets it very close, and that's going to be a good shot to bring with for the next time for our opponent. I'm going to play with a thorn here. I like the thorn, but of course you can play with a hornet if you want that instead. I'm playing with medium distance of my club, no under adjustment, no over adjustment, aiming straight at the pin with no spin whatsoever. I like approaches like this when I don't have to use any spin whatsoever, and it's going to be something that I think is like, it's easier for myself to rely on the adjustment if I'm not using anything extra, because then we can just use how the ball is going to be working out themselves, you know. Unfortunately I hit it great, but I do believe with a perfect this one would be going in, because we're basically missing the right side with the amount that is kind of a great shot. Hole number 8. Now we have 2 more holes to go, 1 par 3 and 1 par 4. And we're gonna start off with our opponent here. And our opponent here is going to play with a sniper. We're gonna do that as well, but I'm going to play with a power 3 ball because I don't want to get in between clubs as our opponent is doing here. So our opponent here playing with a power 1 ball. A power 1 ball need to overpower, and this one is going to be crazy much right. I don't really know what happened there, but goes way out to the right, and hopefully that's not going to be something that happens again. Of course I'm playing with a kingmaker here because I do want to play with the sniper. If I would be playing with a power 1 ball, I need to change to a guardian so I do get more distance, and here is otherwise a problem for us when we do need distance, and that's why I'm playing with a power 3 balls. We don't have to go in between clubs. I'm backing up using the red ring very close to the bottom there with a white ring just inside the rough on the left, adjusting for 1-on-1 plus half a ring, which is 6 rings. So this could also be called medium distance with a 10% over adjustment plus half a ring. Coming in very nicely in here. Could have removed a little bit of backspin, but also adjusted it a little bit further out. So I think the adjustment here for us would be playing it in maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment with our sniper. Even though we're not in maximum distance, but that is what I'm going to do from now on. But important with the landing position there, so we try to replicate, because it was a very good bounce coming towards the pin there. Hole number 9, we end up with a par 4 this time, and here I'm going to play with a Titan, giving myself distance for the second shot, and here I actually have the Guardian, which is nice, because Guardian, key club, we're gonna come to that. Drive first, 10% over adjustment, yellow ring by the rough on the right, and we're going to play this one 4 rings, and going 4.5 bar top spin with as much side spin possible with the ball, which is 4.5 bar as well. And also max curl, which is max curl with an X mile level 7, which is approximately 75% of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the right. We do want the ball to go as far as possible, but most importantly as far as possible to the right of the next fairway there in front. Not in the next phase, still the same fairway, but there in front we do want to be as close to the right side as possible, because the closer we are to the right, the easier the shot for the pin is going to be. And now we do have the Guardian, and the Guardian is going to be a nice one to play with here, because we do have backspin, and then we can use the back of the green to get the ball to kick back down towards the pin without having any trouble, I would have to say, but trouble more in the meaning of that we cannot otherwise go for the green in 2. Sorry, we can go for the green too, but the pin, going for the pin is going to be super tough if we don't have a Guardian. So we go up using Guardian level 6, max backspin, and a little bit of side spin to the right. And then I'm going to try to aim like straight over the pin really, and see how the ball is going to act. We don't have much ball guideline to see how the ball is going to roll back down with the Guardian here. So I'm going to try to find a spot and see how it's actually going to act. 4 rings, and I'm going to adjust my shot for the position where it is in. Like if it is in maximum distance, it's maximum, medium, medium, minimum, minimum, and then we're going to so no over adjust, no under adjust, just play it as it is. Now you can see we need to aim more to the right there to get the bounce back that we do want to, but at least with the Guardian we do get the bounce back as we want to. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Pro Division in the Vintage Open Tournament. And once again, I will take it again that I'm playing with some clubs that might be a higher level than you have, and some clubs that might be in a lower level that you have, but listen to the explanations. That's the important one. If I do have a club that I feel is a little bit too good for the division, in my book, and what I think generally a player plays with. What you play with, you decide. I'm not gonna care about that. It's your decision. But if the club does not matches the suggestion I'm making, please listen to the explanation, and I will explain how you could do that with a lower level club or with another club if that is. And if you do have a club that is not mentioned in any form and you do want to know because maybe that's your favorite club, like Thorn is my favorite club, but maybe that's your favorite club, let me know in the comments and I will be happy to answer you there. If you like the video and the content, take your time, hit the thumbs up please. And also the video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Vintage Open Tournament.